God. It was an accident, I swear.
The secret has been revealed.
Oh, no.
Oh, hi everybody! How we doing out there? This is Crazy Kiss Countdown, episode number 2. Animalize 2. Was that a 2 you just held up there? That's a 2. By golly, I can almost count. This episode we're doing the album called Animalize. So we're filming this right here at DA Music Studios in Greenville, Ohio. I'm sure you know exactly where Greenville, Ohio is, but in case you don't, here's a map. There we are. Where are you? Here are some facts about the album Animalize.
It was released September 13th, 1984. The record company was Mercury Records, and the producer was Paul Stanley, believe it or not. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, Paul Stanley produced this album virtually by himself, actually, because Gene was filming the movie Runaway at the time.
And they also hired yet another new lead guitar player for this album, Mark St. John, who was not able to tour, actually, though, for the album because he caught a rare disease, a rare form of arthritis called Reiter's syndrome, which puffed up all the knuckles on his hand and his knee. So instead of him, they had Bruce Kulick tour with him, who ended up joining the band.
So is Reiter's syndrome from writing too much?
I don't think so. It's spelled like Reiter, as in like the milk company Reiter.
Oh, so he was allergic to milk.
Does he have udders?
Udders?
Udders.
I don't know.
Yeah, he probably had udders.
Not like their other guitar player, Bruce Kulick.
I hope you said that loud enough to be heard by the microphones. Well, this album actually did pretty well for the band. As far as the 80s no makeup era, this one probably was the best selling, or close to it anyways. Big debate as to whether this was better than Lick It Up or not. They did get this album up to number 4 in Finland, which is something we'd all be proud of, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Finland. In the US it got up to 19, I believe. So it did pretty well. What do you guys think about this album? How did you feel about it?
I thought it was pretty dang good, like far better than Unmasked, I think. It's a lot heavier of rock. I like most of the songs on it better. This is pretty good.
I like Eric Carr's drumming. He always does a good job. I also like his leopard printed jumpsuit that he wore while they toured.
Oh yeah, I wear that same thing sometimes.
Oh.
No. No. What did you think, Luke?
I thought this album was really, really good. You know, everything about it was really good. And in a very similar vein to Lick It Up. It makes sense that these two albums were next to each other. Just less Vinny.
Less Vinny. Well, there's a lot of debate as to the best album, Lick It Up or Animalize. I know Paul and Gene have said what they think about it, and I've heard people that did not agree. This album fell right during a time period when it came out where I wasn't watching Kiss do anything or buying their albums or anything, so I was completely unaware of this album when it first hit the market, so I have no nostalgia input to put towards it, but it was a lot more of a rock and roll album than the other ones. Anyways, and having Mark St. John and Eric Carr on there, Mark St. John's only album, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think about the debate about Mark St. John as a musician and how he contributed to Kiss for this one thing? There's a big debate about whether you want a guitar player that's going to play something that's cool and full of attitude and emotion or lyrical, or do you want a guitar player that can just play 1,000 million notes at a time?
I think that is where the distinction comes with this, because that's supposedly what Mark was good for. You know, they say he was able to play classical pieces and stuff, which is incredibly technically, awesome and extremely fast. Whereas, Vinny could do a lot of really fast stuff too, but it was weird. He had his own kind of scales going. But then Bruce, I don't know, Bruce for me seemed to fit Kiss better, or maybe it was just that the stuff he played maybe wasn't as technically proficient as what Mark did on this album, but it just, I don't know, it sounded cool and it fit really well.
Yeah, at the time, it was popular to have guitar players playing like that. lots and lots of notes. See how many you can get in there. So I guess it made sense. Or there's the argument, they should have stayed with an Ace Frehley type to sound more like Kiss, rather than changing stuff. So what do you guys think?
Personally, I'm happy they didn't get another Ace-ish.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a good thing probably that they decided to try something new. It kind of makes, it's probably one of the things that makes Animalize kind of stand out as like being different than the other albums.
Yeah, I don't think any of the music in the No Makeup years would have sounded like it did with an Ace-ish style guitar player.
Yeah, it would have been a lot different.
Yep, I like Ace because he was the man back when I first started. The guy that wanted me personally to become a guitar player. Interpret that however you will. But I kind of prefer Vinnie Vincent a little bit just because of the quirkiness of his playing. Whereas Mark St. John did more what you might expect in a lot of his stuff rather than throwing you for a loop, doing something unexpected. So Bruce Kulick, super nice guy. We've met him, and I absolutely would back him up in anything that he ever does. There you go. I have no idea what kind of a person Mark St. John was. I've not really heard them say anything bad about him, really. It was unfortunate about his hand. And a lot of the stuff that he played on this album apparently wasn't his choice. He was kind of told how to play. Do we have recordings of him playing like in another band or something where he's actually playing how he wants to?
He surprisingly actually later on ended up, he was in a band called White Tiger with his younger brother, I believe. It was his brother. And they ended up transforming into a band called The Keep, which Peter Criss played drums in, actually. Which that didn't ever end up doing anything.
Dun, dun, dun.
There's some recordings
What?
on YouTube. It's strange. I mean, even though it's the 80s, you can totally tell that it's Peter Criss playing drums. It still sounds exactly.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah.
So check that out and see what you think. I'll have to check that out and see what kind of guitar player he actually was when he was turned loose, if he was. We assume that he was, I guess, in this case. So yeah, Mark St. John might have been a really good guy to know. Eric Carr, from all reports, really good guy to know, but they're both gone now. The two people out of Kiss that have passed away, and they were both on this one album. So Paul and Gene, I don't know if they feel kind of creeped out by this album, knowing that they're the last survivors. I don't know.
That's a kind of creepy way to put that.
Last survivors of Animalize. Alrighty, well, let's go on to what we voted on this. We listened to all the songs. There's 9 songs on the album, and rated them from best to worst, and then tallied up all the scores. And here is how it came out. In third place, what do you think? It's the song "I've Had Enough," Into the Fire.
Yeah.
Written by Paul and Desmond Child. We gave it a 31 out of a possible 40, which is pretty good. Lead singer was Paul, of course. This was the opening track to the album. Usually, typically, you want to have a song that sets the tone for your album for the first one, and they wanted to punch people in the face and say, hey, this is not Dynasty or Unmasked. It's a rock album. So they started off with that one. A lot of people consider this song to be a really, really good song on the album, and for us it was in third place, so we agree with you. Luke actually rated this as number 1, the best song on the album. The person that rated it the lowest was, of course, Sam, but he had it at number 4, which is pretty high, so we all agreed that that song came within the top 4. Why number 1?
For me, I felt like this song did exactly what it was supposed to do. It set the mood for the album. It was upbeat. As soon as you put this album in and that song starts, cool, this is going to be a good album. It's really catchy. I always really liked this song. Actually, suggested this song to be covered by our band Right Way to Nowhere several years ago. It didn't end up happening, but I've always thought that this was a very strong but not relatively well-known Kiss song.
Alrighty, so we're going to give that song a third place sticker on our board where we keep track of all this. Paul Stanley gets a third place sticker. Here it goes. We're putting it on right now. Isn't that nice?